Cassini Ranch Family Campground is a great campground to visit if you're looking to detach from the busy everyday city life. This campground is full of nature and serenity, and it's the perfect way to relax. Cassini Ranch Family Campground has been open since 1965. It is settled along the Russian River and it has beautiful hills surrounding it full of pine trees. The Cassini family have lived on what is now the ranch for six generations and have owned it for three generations. In 1965 is when they began the process of converting it to what the campground is now. My family and I first camped here in summer of 2014. We were introduced to the campground by my brother-in-law and sister-in-law who had organized a family group camp at one of Cassini Ranch's group sites. And we came along and loved it. My kids loved it so much, and this was our first camping experience as well, my husband's and mine. So we made it a family tradition ever since, and we've gone back every summer since then with family and friends to just have a weekend of camping amongst fun and family. This campground is ideal for a weekend getaway or longer. Since it's not too far from the Bay Area, it's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours away if you get traffic, which the drive isn't too bad. And I mean, it's something we look forward to so the drive isn't boring because once you're going into Guerneville area, I mean, you start seeing all the wineries and then the towns along the Russian River. So the drive itself is not a bad drive. The word family is in their name, but you don't necessarily have to have kids to go there. The campground has so many options and things to do for all types. Cassini Ranch offers affordable rates. Their busy time is coming up, which is late spring and summer. After speaking with Mary Jane, who is an employee of Cassini Ranch and she's in charge of the group rentals, she informed me that the current rate for the summer rates for a group site is from $300 to $340 a night, but this includes up to 24 adults. So really, if you rent one of these group sites like my family does every summer, and you include the 24 adults and you just divide the cost amongst everybody, it's not that bad. We usually do this every summer since 2014, and per family, we end up paying about $75 to $80 for the whole weekend because this is the price. The 300 to the 340 is the price per night. So we usually do 2 nights and divide that amongst everyone that's going, and a group site allows you up to 24 people on the list. Mary Jane also let me know that the tent sites, which are smaller, and that's if you want to come with just your tent and one extra family, they're about between 53 to 59 per night. And usually their tent sites, individual sites accommodate 2 adults and 2 kids. And once you add on to that, you can still have more people come to your individual site. And they just add an additional, I believe it was $14 per adult. And then again, you can split that amongst, the families. If you rented an individual site, you could rent that amongst 3 families, which we've done that as well. We've rented individual sites and we've been able to fit 3 families, 3 tents in it, and we just divide the cost. So in reality, it doesn't come out to that much for a weekend of camping. The day use, if you wanted to come by and just hang out for the day with family you have that are maybe camping there, the day use is $14 per person. So you can just come hang out and on the river, bring your floats and, hang out with the family that's camping and leave at night. The campground has a beach and you can hang out at the riverfront. You can hang out at the beach during the day, or you can hang out at the riverfront that's closest to your campsite or to your group site. They usually have routes that go out to the river, so you don't have to necessarily go to the designated beach area. So if you decided to go to the beach because you wanted to bring or wanted to rent a kayak, then you would have to load it on that side. But they have tons of things to do. I mean, you can bring your kayaks, inflatable boat. I believe they don't allow motorized boats on the Russian River, but you bring an inflatable boat, which is what we've done. We've brought kayaks, or you can rent them there. During the summer, they have a seasonal bonfire at night, and you can go to the beach and you can hang out with other campers and do the bonfire, and then go back to your own site or do your own bonfire at your site. You can also rent pedal carts, golf carts, or touring bikes and just roam the campgrounds. My kids, definitely bring their bikes and they love it. They love riding their bikes around the campground. My son, which is almost 12, is now a little bit more comfortable with roaming the campgrounds. It's pretty safe. They have a duck pond. You can pay, I believe it's a quarter to pay to feed the ducks, and that's one thing that my kids love to do. And again, you don't necessarily have to have kids to come to this campground, because we've had family that doesn't have kids and they still come and do everything with us. If I go with my kids to feed, the ducks, my brother will come, or my cousin will come. And there's just so much to do. I believe the one thing I should specify, because this is a family campground, they do have curfew hours. So I believe it's 10 p.m. where they will start coming around and letting your group know, or your camp, if you're being too loud, and they will give you warnings. I know traditionally, from experience with my siblings of mine, they rather go camping where it's more open and there's no rules. But I personally like the fact that there's a curfew, only because as a parent, and just from all the activities you do during the day in camping, you're worn out. I just, I'm ready to go to bed. But it is fun to stay up late. I would think it'd be perfect if maybe the curfew was 11, because even if you do have kids, you go camping because you want to, stay up and enjoy a talk along around your campfire and doing s'mores late at night, or just, hanging out around a campfire, keeping cozy and warm. If you're looking for new campgrounds or planning your first trip, I truly recommend Consini Ranch. There's just so much to do, and it's beautiful. Um, there's there's even playgrounds for the kids, if they get bored of whatever you're doing at your campsite, or if the river and they want to go to the playground, there's playgrounds. Just this year now, there's basketball courts as well. And I just love the fact that my kids, they don't ask for technology, so it detaches them, it detaches us as adults, and we just mingle. Um, it is closer to the coast. It is closer to the ocean. So this is not your typical camping area like out in the valley. So it's not necessarily always hot. It is actually cooler. And it's beautiful in the morning when the breeze is still there and the fog is low and you can see all the land. You can see the trees up in the hills, and everything's just foggy. I personally love that scenery. There's horses there you can feed. There is just so much to do, from the river fun to bike riding to the playground to family games and just doing s'mores. I mean, it makes for great memories. Put it on your to do list for this spring or summer, and don't forget your kayak or your boat.